What's going on, guys? Welcome back to an episode of Fishing with Flair. Today I have the second mystery tackle box for the month of January. Take everything out and we'll go over what we got. Set this off to the side like always. We come with a little booklet here, and if you saw my ice fishing one, it's the exact same. Gene Jensen has an article in there, some stuff about jerk baits and square bill fishing, some tips for ice fishing, some contests going on, and some featured swim baits. I went quick through there because if you really want to see what's in this, you can go to that first unboxing for the month of January and get a look at that. First bait we have here is a River Sea Biggie Papa square bill. I have a couple of these. I've gotten these, I don't know which monthly subscription box I got one of these in, but I have a couple of them. And to be honest, they're, for a square bill as the size of this is, I do like them quite a bit. I wouldn't say the only time, the time I will use this over something such as a Livingston or a Strike King is when I'm looking for something really, really loud, as you can hear. That's a really, really loud rattle. So if it's really muddy water or if the fish are schooling and you're really trying to get their attention, I will tie this on versus some of the other brands. Has pretty good action. It's a good all-around size. In my opinion, it's a little bigger than the 1.5 but smaller than the 2.5. It's kind of like a 2.0. And for the bass around my lake that are usually 2 pounds or less, this is a dynamite size right there. Perfect bait fish size. And the color in that one is tilapia. And that goes for $8.91. Next we have Custom Lures Unlimited Zero Gravity Swim Jig. Now this bait is actually pretty sweet. I've never seen one of these guys. So from just the looks of it, it just looks like your standard swim jig, kind of like with the long tail, the Z-Man skirt on it. But you wouldn't know. But from, you wouldn't know from watching this, but this head weighs almost nothing. There's not really a way of me showing you, but it weighs nothing. It's really, it's like light as a feather. This entire thing it's lead free. So I don't know what the head is made out of, but it's like not even 1/8 of an ounce. This thing is like featherweight. There's not really a way of showing you on camera. So basically they call it zero gravity because it falls 1 foot every 3 seconds. I believe, so it'll fall it takes 3 seconds to drop that much. Normally a swim jig would take, maybe 1 second. Where I could see this really coming into play would definitely be the spawn. If this thing has such a slow fall rate, bass hate bluegill around their beds. You see a bass bed, you pitch it in there, and I imagine this kind of working like a fluke. If you've ever fished with a weightless fluke or a lightly weighted fluke, hell, it'll just kind of like swim like this down, and you jerk it up, and it'll swim back down. I kind of imagine this doing this. Which would be really, really good in the spawn, as well as fishing over grass and stuff like that. So I'm really impressed with that bait right there. I've never seen anything like that on the market, never even heard of anything like that, so it's really awesome. $5.49 for that guy. We have a pack of 2 Buckeye Spot Remover shaky heads. For a 5-pack goes for $5.50. And these are one of my favorite, I wouldn't say my favorite, but one of my favorite brands and types of shaky heads, just because of the flat head right there. If you're really looking for your bait to stand straight up in the air, not just kind of tilted, but straight up in the air, in the water I should say, then Buckeye is probably your go-to lure company as far as that. The hooks are always pretty good, and I do like their shaky heads. If you're looking for one that stands straight up, I found with the ones that stand straight up, you get hung up a little bit more than like the ball heads. But like I said, if you're looking for one to stand straight up, Buckeye has a couple of them, a couple different models that are definitely worth checking out. Next we have, this is a BizBug. Wait, wrong one. Let's see, BizBug. There we go. This is a BizBug here, 4 count, and for a 6-pack goes for $4.99. These are pretty sweet looking baits actually. They're flipping baits. You can see there, but they're kind of unique. They kind of have a mix of everything. They kind of have, the beaver tip, like a beaver style bait, and then they have the flapping craw there, and then they have the little crawfish tentacles on there, or the little appendages. That's a pretty cool bait. They have two in black and blue, and then one in the green pumpkin. And I like them. You know, just they feel like a solid bait, nice and heavy, weighted, and they look like they have a lot of action because they have the little kind of the rage flange right there on the tips of them. So actually, I think this would be a pretty sweet bait. Looks just like a solid confidence bait that you could throw, because I love throwing like the beaver style baits like the Gambler Ugly Otter and stuff like that. But then if you can incorporate the craw presentation like you can with this, I think that'd be dynamite. So pretty cool bait there. So it goes for $4.99. Let's see, Bruiser Baits Crazy Craw 4-pack. And I have used these. And for a straight crawfish imitation, these ones are hard to beat. Especially in that color. You can see the color's not really doing it justice. In the camera, it's kind of looking more of a whitish pale. But in person, it's a chartreuse. So I don't know if that's showing up in the camera. On my point of view on the camera, it's not really showing up that well, but it's half and half. You can see laminate color. And it comes in a 4-pack. And these work really well on the back of jigs. I would probably put this on the back of a swim jig if I'm trying to imitate like a bluegill or something like that. And I know I've seen the action on them. They're pretty good for a craw style bait, and they're pretty inexpensive as well. $4.29 for an 8-pack. And lastly, we have the Z-Man Grub Z. This looks like it's in like a shadow smoke hologram color. See, there's just your standard curly tail grub, but has the Z-Man Elastec. So, you know, if a bluegill comes along and pulls your tail, it's not going to break or anything like that. This stuff's pretty indestructible, so even though it only comes with 4, it definitely could last you an entire day of fishing. So you can see there. Pretty cool bait. Back to swim jigs. It's about the only time I really use a curly tail grub or smallmouth bass fishing. I'll toss a curly tail grub. And that's it as far as the lures go. Came with quite a bit of stuff. Looks like it came with 6 different items. Well over $15 by far. You can get your first box for $4.99 using promo code GET499. And the Mr. Tackle Box sticker. So that's it for today's episode. It came with a lot of cool baits, flipping baits, stuff for swim jigs, some crankbaits, and a swim jig, and some shaky heads. Some of my go-to baits. I would throw every single lure that came through here. None of them would not be in my boat after I received them. Pretty awesome baits here, especially this. I'm really impressed with the zero gravity jig. You definitely got to check these out. I'm just amazed at how they made it look so real, and it's so light and stuff like that. Can't wait to take this out on the water once the ice melts. So that's it for today's episode, and thanks for watching.